Welcome all. Today in building services, we will know about the theory of light. What is light and what are the classifications of the light and also the concept of modern lightings. So this is the agenda. There is three parts: the physics of light and how lighting design is classified and the concept shaping the modern practice. So first of all, what is light? So the light is nothing but an electromagnetic radiation in a visible spectrum, that is approximately 380 to 780 nanometers, that stimulates the human eye. So here this is a visible spectrum example. So that is 380 nanometers to 780 nanometers. So the colors based upon its visibility. Then the lighting design draws on the two disciplines at once. So the first one is the physics of light and second one is the psychology of vision. So based upon the physics of light, it is a photometry, that is measurable quantities like the flux, intensity and the luminance, and also based upon the psychology of vision, it is a perception, adaptation, contrast sensitivity and the circadian response. So then about the quantity versus the quality of light. Quantity is how much light, that is lux levels, then governed by the task based standards, that is reading, surgery or retail. It is based upon the quantity, and based upon the quality, how the light behaves, that is glare control, uniformity, color accuracy, contrast and the flicker. Next is about the photometric quantities. So first is the luminous flux, then illuminance, luminous intensity, luminance, color temperature and the CRI. So luminous flux is lumens, that is LM, that is which is the total light output of the source. Then illuminance is mentioned as lux, that is light falling on the surface, amount of light falling on the surface. Then luminous intensity, that is a candela, that is CD, that is a output in a specific direction. Then luminance, that is a candela per meter square, that is light reflected towards the eye, perceived brightness. Then color temperature, it is measured in kelvins, that is in terms of warm, it is the temperature will be from 2700 to 3000 Kelvin. In terms of cold, 5000 Kelvin and above. Then CRI, that is measured in 0 to 100 scale. So accuracy of color rendering on the surface. Next is about the quantity versus the quality of light. So quantity, that is how much light is present in it, is termed as quantity. Quality, how the light behaves, is termed as quality. So in terms of quantity, it is measured in illuminance and governed by task-based standards, that is offers, rating, surgery and retails. Then determines whether a space is bright enough to function safely and efficiently. Then easy to specify with the single number per space type. In terms of quality, which comes that is how the light behaves, there is glare control and the visual comfort, uniformity and the distribution across the surface, color rendering, contrast and shadow characteristic, flicker, dynamic range and the perceived atmosphere. Next is the human perception and the circadian response. So the photometry treats light as the physics, but design outcomes depends just as much as how the eye and the body respond to it. So it is based upon the visual adaptation, contrast sensitivity and the circadian, that is non-visual response. So visual adaptation means the eye continuously adjusts sensitivity as ambient light level changes from bright daylight to dim light interiors. In terms of contrast sensitivity, objects are distinguished by the luminance and color contrast against their surroundings, not by luminance alone. Then there is non-visual response, that is circadian response, how our body, human body reacts to the light. That is light regulates the body's biological clock, timing, intensity and the color temperature affect alertness and the sleep. Next is about the classification of the lightings. So lighting design is classified along the 5 overlapping dimensions, that is first one is the by functions, second one is by distribution, third one is by source and fourth one is by placement and fifth one was by the spatial role which the light play. According to the function, it is it is based upon the ambient, task, ascent and the decorative purpose. In terms of by distribution, It is termed as the direct, semi-direct, diffuse, semi-indirect. Then in terms of a source, there is natural daylight and also the artificial daylight. By terms of placement, there is a researched, claw, track, wall wash. Then terms of spatial role, whether it is used for the architectural purpose or for the illuminate based for the engineering purposes. First classification, that is classification by function. So this is a common group of classification, that is a group by the role light plays in a space, that is for the ambient, whether it is for ambient or the general. There is overall illumination that fills a space evenly, establishing a baseline level of the visibility. In terms of task, focus light directed at the specific activity, that is for reading, cooking, workbenches and desks. Then accent, highlight objects, artworks or the architectural features to draw the eye and the creative focal points. Then for decorative purposes, the fixture itself is the visual feature. Next is about the classification in terms of distribution. That is how light travels from the fixture to the surface of the room. In that, on the basis of the distribution, it is categorized into 5. Direct, semi-direct, diffuse, semi-indirect and indirect. In direct, it will be, that is the light will be facing 90 to 100% down. There is light thrown straight onto the surface below the fixture. Semi-indirect, 60 to 90% will be facing down, mostly downwards. Small upward components, often shadows. In diffuse, 40 to 60% will be facing down, scattered in all directions for even and shadow-free coverage. Semi-indirect, 10 to 40% will be facing down, mostly upward. So, buoyant light with a soft downward flow. Indirect, 0 to 10% will be facing down. So, buoyant off the ceilings or wall for a fully diffused ambience. Next, classification based upon the source and the placement. In terms of source, by light source, it is classified as the natural lighting, which comes from the daylight, skylights and solar design strategies. And artificial lighting, there is a fluorescence, incandescence and the LED sources. Then in terms of the spatial roles, based upon architectural or the decorative purposes. Then based upon the placement techniques, it is classified as researched, suspended, claw, uh, uplightings, backlightings, glaring, surface mounted, track, wall wash and downlightings. Next is about the concept of the modern lighting design. So, human-centric and circadian lighting is taken into account mainly for the modern lighting concepts. So, the layered lighting combines the ambient, task and ascent light rather than one uniform source. So, creating depth and the flexibility. This human-centric lighting goes further at tuning color, temperature and intensity to match the body's natural rhythm throughout the day. So that is a layered lighting and the dynamic lighting. So layered lighting, which combines the ambient, task and ascent working together. Then in terms of dynamic turning, that is cooler, brighter light by day, then warmer, dimmer light by adjusting the light. So that is what the dynamic turnings. Next, smart, sustainable and the adaptive lightings. So mainly this is for the energy efficiency, smart and dynamic, biophilic lightings, minimalism, glare-free comfort, adaptive public spaces. There is energy efficiency, there is lead dominance, then daylight harvesting, so occupancy sensors and smart dimmings. Then smart and dynamic IoT control, turnable light, white lights, then activity responsive systems. Biophilic lightings mimics natural daylight patterns to connect people with the nature. Minimalism, concealed sources, covers and claws and linear LEDs. So the effect, not the fixture, is seen. Then glare-free comfort, anti-glare optics and the low UGR fixtures for the screen-heavy spaces and adaptive public spaces. That is a sensor and AI-driven system responding to the presence, weather, and also the time. So these are the key takeaways from this lecture. That is what is we have gone through the theory of lights and the classification of lights and the concepts of the modern lighting. Thank you.